was born, and I picked him up and I looked at him and I was like, oh, it's a boy. So I was due on the 5th of March, and yep, nothing happened. Literally, it hurt so bad. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Neha and you're watching IMMY Australia. Today's video is going to be fun because I will be sharing my birth story with you. I will try to keep it short yet informative, so grab some popcorn, grab a drink, and let's get started with today's video. Alright, so I was 41 weeks and 4 days pregnant when I had Ved. Ved is the name of my son. In case you don't know, he is almost 5 months now, and I just can't believe he was born on the 16th of March at 11:23 p.m. Alright, let's go back to March. So I was due on the 5th of March, and yep, nothing happened. So I went for checkups and the doctor was like, yep, let's have a plan in place. So I was scheduled for an induction on the 18th of March. On the 17th of March, Ved was born on the 16th of March. So yeah, on the day when I first had my labor pain, which was the 15th of March, I went for a normal checkup. Everything was fine. Came back home. I went for a good hot shower, although it was summers still, but I went for a hot shower because I'm crazy. Then we went for a walk, grabbed some groceries, and we had an extensive plan on the things we wanted to do on the Saturday, because we were just prepping up before the baby comes. Friday night, after coming from the hospital, having my checkup, everything was fine. I decided to cook the spiciest dinner. I think I made egg curry and fried rice or something like that. While I was having my dinner, I had my first contraction, but I did not know that it was a contraction then. It was in my back. So I was like, I'm just having back pain. And my mother-in-law was like, yep, I'll give you a massage. So we finished dinner and then we clean up and we go for a walk, me and my husband, while my mother-in-law goes back to sleep. I went down the street and I got another contraction and I was on the floor. Literally, it hurt so bad. And then I was like, okay, Arun, I don't think this is normal back pain. This is something else. So I had the contraction timer up on my phone as advised by my midwife. So I came back home, did not wake my mother-in-law, dimmed all the lights as advised by my midwife. And I was in my living area and I started timing them. And I started getting labor pain. So it was early labor because the contractions were quite far apart, they were irregular, but they were all in my back. So I remembered all the things I had planned for my birth. So I got my TENS machine and I asked Arun to put it on my back, and God forbid I couldn't sit during my contractions. So it started at 9:30 p.m. and I did not sit for good 15 hours, and you will know how and why. So then I labored. I will not go into much details, but I walked in my living area the entire night, used the TENS machine, called the hospital thrice, and they were like, nope, this is not the time. You are in early labor. Spend some more time home. Labor in the comfort of your home. So I stayed there. I think I left for the hospital at 6:30 when I called them, and they were like, yep, I think it's time for you to come because you're in a lot of pain. So that's when I woke up my mother-in-law, and then we went to the hospital. In the hospital, my pain was just getting worse and worse. And so I asked for some pain relief. So they gave me gas, but the gas did nothing. I had HG during my pregnancy, which is like severe nausea. So I started vomiting in labor pain, which was not helpful at all. So they got me in and they asked me to wait, and I was crying in pain. So they gave me gas and air. That did not help. So they then shifted me to a birthing suite, because when I first visited the hospital at 6:30 a.m., they did not have a birthing suite vacant for me. So I had to wait for some time. Once we had an available room, they quickly shifted me there, and I hopped into the shower to get some natural pain relief. I think I spent like 2.5 hours over there, and they checked and I was like 5 or 6 centimeters dilated. So I still had a long way to go, but the pain was just worse. And I had back labor, which meant that everything that I felt was in my back, and they were back-to-back contractions. Like, this is one of the bad things about, and this is what I've heard, this is one of the bad things about back labor, that it comes like without any rest or intervals in between. So like My contractions were like really back to back. One would fade out and the other one would just pick up. So I was crying in pain, and I think it was like 15 hours of labor by then. That is when I cried and I was like, I beg, I need the epidural. And the midwife was like, yep, let's do it. You have been in the shower for 3 hours, you tried gas and air, it's not helping, and your contractions are too close. You'll be tired by the time you actually have to push, so let's give you an epidural. So we called the anesthetist. Oh my god, I can't pronounce that name, but someone who gives you the anesthesia. The epidural was in, and after 15 or 16 hours, I finally sat. I only sat in my car since the time my labor started. So during that entire time I sat in my car. That's the only time I was sitting. The entire time I was standing, I just couldn't sit because my contractions would get worse when I would sit. So then things started to slow down and I was much more calm. So I got to relax for a bit. They checked, I was still at a 6. But my waters had broken in the shower in the hospital. So that was good. They changed positions, gave me a peanut ball. And then every hour you get to top up your epidural. So that's how that works. But I quickly developed a fever, which was not so good. So they gave me like a cold pack to get rid of the fever. I also started vomiting. But the baby was all safe and happy. At 7:30, they were like, this is the time we need to check if you have progressed or not. If not, we might have to go for a C-section. So I was praying and begging to God that, God forbid, I just want to be a 10. And they checked and I was like 9.5. So they were like, oh yeah, all good. Let's not take you for a C-section. I think in an hour you'll be ready to push. So they gave us an hour of just me and Arun. I would never forget that time. We were just the two of us in the room praying and waiting and just being happy and anxious and everything, because in an hour we would meet our baby, right? So the midwives had left. It was, I think 7, not 7, actually 9:30 or something like that. So 9:45, the midwives come in and they were like, yep, ready to push. So I pushed for quite some time because, yeah, I did not push once and the baby was out. I had to push for some time. And at 11:23, Wade was born. We did not know the gender of the baby. You can know the gender of the baby in Australia, but we opted to not know the gender of our baby until birth. So we waited for that moment to for the baby to be born and know the gender. So when he was born, we were so sure that we would have a girl, that when he was born and I picked him up and I looked at him and I was like, oh, it's a boy. Like Arun and me, we were both in disbelief. Yeah, I thought it's going to be a girl. So he was there. So he was put on my chest. And then we spent some time there, just the two of us, not the two of us, the 3 of us, me, the baby, and Arun. We immediately knew that he was Wade because we had like a few names decided on. So Wade was there. They then asked Arun to cut the cord. We have a few pictures of that. And then he was taken for the measurements and everything. And then they shifted me to the ward and Arun had to leave. They stitched me up, cleaned me up, shifted me to the room. And then Arun had to leave because I was in a shared room, unfortunately. And the midwives were super helpful. They literally took care of me so well that I couldn't thank my stars for being able to experience this here in Australia. So yeah, that is how Wade was born and our lives changed forever. In the next video, I will be sharing my experience of delivering as a public patient in Australia. So that basically means that I delivered in a government hospital and how my experience was. So in case you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. Share this video with your friends. Give it a big fat thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel and I will see you in my next video. Bye.